Chosen ones, this whole situation is about to blow up. They've been cheating with PSYCHOPATH. The same spiritual advisor who had convinced them to betray your trust and steal your innovative healing methods was now systematically dismantling their reputation across social media, leaving no stone unturned. Your ancestors had warned you in dreams to step completely away, and now you understood why. This wasn't just a business betrayal, but a divine setup orchestrated through someone who specialized in destroying the very people who trusted them most. You always knew. You saw the cracks before anyone else did. Felt the energy shift. Watched as the weight of their own deception started pressing in, suffocating them inch by inch. You didn't have to expose them, because truth does not stay buried. What is done in the dark will be brought to light. Jesus declares in Luke chapter 8, verse 17, "You are watching it unfold in real time." It didn't happen all at once. The unraveling started slow, quiet, almost unnoticeable, until it wasn't. The whispers came first. Loose lips, careless movements, hidden messages surfacing where they should have never been. A name said too, loudly. A lie told one too many times. Then the missteps. They got comfortable, thought they were untouchable, smarter than everyone else, thought their deception was airtight, that the people they manipulated would never wake up. But arrogance is always the first crack in the foundation. They left a trail. It's leading straight to them. You see the way they shift, the way their confidence falters, the way their once perfect mask has started to slip. They sensed it, the unraveling, the inevitable collapse. But they don't know who's watching. You do. You see the shifting eyes, the subtle distance growing between them and the people they once relied on. The ones who once defended them are stepping back. The ones who once believed their every word are starting to wonder. And when doubt begins, trust dies. They scramble to contain the damage, to silence the whispers, to control the narrative. But it's too late. The silence they once relied on has turned into an unbearable noise. The darkness they hid in is now a spotlight, exposing everything. You don't have to say a word. The truth is speaking for itself, and the light is coming faster than they ever expected. You warned them, not with words, with energy. The moment you saw their new alliance, you felt it. Something was off. Not just a bad decision, not just a poor choice, but a fatal one. A shift in power they didn't recognize, but you did. The presence they aligned with, it was never real power. It was an illusion. A charmer, a deceiver, someone who builds nothing but takes everything. But they didn't listen. They thought they had found a partner, an ally, someone who would elevate them, show them the fast track to power, feed their hunger for influence. But manipulation is not strategy. Deception is not intelligence, and they were never in control. They thought they were playing the game. They thought they were moving the pieces, but they were the game. Every decision they made, every word they spoke was being orchestrated from the beginning. The master manipulator didn't give them power. They took it, slowly, methodically, like a snake tightening its coils. At first, it was subtle. Promises were made. Influence was dangled like a prize just out of reach, just enough control to make them feel important, make them feel like they were winning. And then the grip tightened. Leverage was gained, and before they even realized what was happening, their control was no longer their own. Now, they're watching it crumble in real time. Everything they thought they built, it was never theirs. The connections they secured, they belong to someone else now. Their influence, their resources, their name, all just currency in a game they never understood. You saw it coming. You watched as they gave away pieces of themselves bit by bit, believing they were rising when in reality they were sinking. They laughed at you, thought you were bitter, thought you were jealous, thought you were afraid of their success. But success built on a lie always collapses. Now the manipulator is pulling the strings tighter. watching their pawn beg for a way out. But there is no way out, not for them, not anymore. You knew something was off, the way they avoided certain conversations, the way their energy shifted when specific names were mentioned, the way guilt crept into their movements, slow at first, then impossible to ignore. They thought they could fool you, that you wouldn't notice. But you always notice. They snuck around, whispering in the dark, moving in the shadows, thinking they could keep their hands clean. They lied to everyone, to their partner, to their friends, to themselves. But secrets demand payment, and the one they used. They are done playing the role of the fool. They were supposed to stay quiet. They were supposed to be disposable. They were supposed to know their place. But now they hold every receipt. The texts, the calls, the conversations where promises were made, where lies were spun, where they were treated like nothing more than a temporary thrill. They were never meant to be heard. But now they refuse to be silenced. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to expose them, drag them, or call them out. The storm is already forming. The one they betrayed, they're watching, waiting, calculating. And when the first crack of thunder hits, when the wind shifts, when the weight of their deception finally crashes down, it will take them down with it. You warned them. They didn't listen. Now they will learn. You felt the shift before they did. The tension, the unease, the creeping energy that whispered this is far from over. They thought they could walk away, clean, that they could discard, move on, erase the past like it never happened. But you knew better. This is no ordinary situation. The one they betrayed. They're not just hurt. They're not just angry. They're obsessed. And obsession does not fade. It festers, it plots, it waits. Now, they're learning the hard way. Walking away was never an option. They see it in the calls that won't stop, the messages that keep flooding in, the whispers traveling faster than they can silence them. The one they wronged is not interested in closure. They want blood. They don't just want to hurt them. They want to erase them, their reputation, their stability, their peace. You warned them. You saw the danger long before they did. The way their so-called lover never truly let go. The way their energy twisted, desperate, clinging. But they laughed it off, thought they had control. Thought they could cheat chaos and walk away untouched. They're trapped in a war they never saw coming. You're standing at a distance, untouched, unbothered, watching them drown in the very storm they created. They wanted to play games. Now, they're paying the price. Hello, chosen one. Look at your life. Now look at ours. Back at your life. Now back at ours. Sadly, you're not in the Obsidian Inner Order, but you could be. Picture this. Weekly group calls with 450 plus chosen ones, recorded and available any time for your enlightenment. Our private Discord? It's not just active, it's alive, buzzing with ideas, breakthroughs, and that unstoppable chosen energy. Oh, and for you romantics out there, welcome to Chosen Singles, where soulmates meet under cosmic alignments, not cheap pickup lines. And if that's not enough, Star Chamber members unlock exclusive interviews with bona fide targeted individuals who've faced the darkest trials and survived to tell the tale. Plus, our video specials, too bold, too raw, too spicy for YouTube. This isn't just a community, it's a revolution of soul and spirit. Look at your DMs, now back at me. The link to join, it's in the description. Don't just swipe right on destiny, claim it. The Obsidian Inner Order. Smell like Ascension. Feel like magic. Live like a chosen one. They thought they could keep it separate. Personal chaos on one side, business as usual on the other. But energy doesn't work like that. Everything they built was held together by one thing: trust. That trust is gone. Colleagues are noticing the discrepancies, the unexplained expenses, the conversations that stop the moment they walk into the room. People aren't questioning if something is wrong. They're questioning how bad it really is. You're watching the unraveling. The way their once loyal supporters are suddenly silent. The way the ones who used to sing their praises are distancing themselves. No one wants to go down with a sinking ship, and this ship is sinking fast. The same ones who defended them are stepping back. The same ones who covered for them aren't answering calls. The ones who shook hands and smiled in meetings are now running the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. They messed around. Now they're finding out, not just socially, financially, legally, professionally. Everything they worked for, everything they convinced themselves was secure, untouchable, protected, it's slipping through their fingers. You don't have to do a thing. Karma is working the spreadsheets now. You told them. Maybe not with words, but with the way you carried yourself. The way you moved differently. The way you stepped away when their energy turned rotten. You knew this moment would come. They messed around. They're finding out, not just socially, legally, financially, permanently. The things they once bragged about, gone. The assets they stacked, the investments they flexed, frozen. The connections they relied on, burning bridges faster than they can put out the flames. The deals they thought were locked in, vanishing before their eyes. They thought they were untouchable, that their charm, their manipulation, their carefully curated image would shield them. But there's no charisma strong enough to stop self-destruction. You can see it now, the panic settling in, the scrambling, the desperate attempts to hold onto what is already slipping. But no one is saving them. No one is coming to clean up their mess. They built their empire on deceit, and now it's collapsing under its own weight. You are untouched, unbothered, watching from a safe distance as their illusions crumble. They wanted power. Now they have nothing. At first you questioned it. Was it paranoia? Was it overthinking? The signs weren't loud. They never are at first. Just small moments, a feeling that wouldn't leave, a voice whispering, "This is not your fight." And then the signs started showing up in ways you couldn't ignore. Every time you got close, something pushed you away. Plans fell through. Conversations turned cold. Something always felt off. Spirit was blocking you, protecting you, keeping you from stepping into something that was never meant for you. And now, look at what's happening to them. Everything they built is collapsing. Every secret they buried is surfacing. Every move they made to put themselves on top is now dragging them under. You are untouched, because Spirit pulled you away before the fire consumed everything. You could have been caught in the wreckage. You could have been tangled in their downfall. But every rejection, every unanswered call, every delay that frustrated you, it was divine intervention. They are burning in their own choices, and you are standing far, far away from the flames. At some point, they will try to pull you back in. Desperation always does. They will say they need you, that you're the only one who understands, that you can fix it, that you can save them. But you were never meant to be their savior. This is their karma, their reckoning, their consequence. You have already been delivered. Stay away. You saw it coming. They didn't. They thought they were part of something bigger, that their loyalty meant security, that standing beside the manipulator made them untouchable. But manipulators don't stay when the fire gets too hot. They start the fire. They feed it, fan the flames, make sure it spreads. Then they vanish before they can burn. And that's exactly what's happening. The one who orchestrated all of this, gone. No explanations, no warnings, just silence. And now the ones who carried out their orders, the ones who did their dirty work, the ones who thought they were safe, they're standing alone in the wreckage. Their protector, their leader, their supposed mastermind, nowhere to be found. They believed every lie, every carefully crafted manipulation. They thought they were special, that they had power, that they were in control. Now they're realizing the truth. They were never part of the plan. They were pawns, and pawns are disposable. You warned them, maybe not with words, but with your absence. With the way you stepped back, the way you refused to get caught in the web, the way you let your silence speak louder than their deception. You knew how this story would end. You knew that when the storm hit, the manipulator would retreat, leaving everyone else to drown. You're watching them struggle to survive the very disaster they helped create. You're free. You're untouched, unbothered, far away from the destruction. Because you were never meant to fall with them. Here they come, the same ones who discarded you, the ones who thought they didn't need you, the ones who mocked your wisdom, dismissed your warnings, and called you paranoid when you sensed the downfall before it started. Now they remember you. They remember your light, your stability, the way your presence used to shield them from the chaos they created. You were their balance, their peace, their protection. And now that everything is crumbling, they want it back. They'll tell you they've changed, that they see things clearly now, that they never meant to push you away. But this isn't about love. This is about escape. They don't miss you. They miss safety. They miss stability. They miss the way your presence absorbed the consequences of their recklessness. But you are not a refuge for the wicked. You are not a shelter for those who destroy themselves. And deep down, they know this. That's why their voice shakes when they speak to you now. That's why their words feel hollow. That's why, even as they beg, they can't look you in the eye for too long, because this isn't an apology. This is desperation. They're not coming back for you. They're running from themselves. They see the fire, the ruin, the irreversible damage, and they think you can be their way out, that you will clean up their mess like you did before. But you won't. Not this time. Because you've seen the pattern. You know that once they're safe again, they'll return to the very destruction that brought them to their knees. You are not their savior. And this time, they will have to save themselves. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to expose them. You don't have to gather evidence. You don't have to convince anyone of what you already knew. The system is handling it. What they thought would stay buried is now being unearthed piece by piece, file by file, testimony by testimony. The ones they feared the most, the ones they couldn't manipulate, couldn't bribe, couldn't charm, are watching now. Authorities, auditors, industry leaders, the very people they once stood beside, shaking hands, making promises, pretending to be untouchable. But no one is standing beside them now. Every lie they told, every false deal they made, every string they pulled to get ahead, it's all catching up. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to warn anyone. You don't have to fight to be heard, because the truth is speaking for itself. You might not be in the room when the files are reviewed, when the evidence is presented, when their names are whispered in conversations they will never hear, but you will feel it. The shift, the weight of judgment finally tipping against them, the unraveling of a game they thought they had mastered. They believed they were above the law, above consequences, above accountability. But justice is not blind. It sees what they tried to hide. It sees who they really are, and it will not spare them. At some point, they will look for someone to blame. They will search for the leak, the betrayer, the one who must have set this in motion. But there is no single person to blame. It wasn't you. It wasn't anyone in particular. It was karma. It was cause and effect. It was the inevitable collapse of everything built on deception. And this time, there is no escaping it. You are not their shield. You are not their scapegoat. You are simply the witness, watching from a safe distance, as everything they did to others is now being done to them. This is not your fight. It never was. Divine justice has taken over, and it does not need your help. You see it now. As they crumble, you rise. Not because you forced it, not because you schemed, plotted, or played their games. You never had to. Your strength has never been about tearing others down. It has always been about standing firm when everything around you collapses. They mocked your integrity, called you naive for choosing honesty over manipulation, for valuing truth over deception, for walking away when they tried to pull you into the shadows with them. But look at you now. Your name is intact. Your reputation is unshaken. Your stability is undeniable. And theirs, unraveling. Every move they made, every shortcut they took, every person they betrayed, it's all coming back to them. They are the lesson. You are the proof. The universe is making an example out of them and a testament out of you. While they scramble, trying to hold together what's already slipping through their fingers, you move forward. While they desperately search for someone to blame, someone to save them, someone to undo the damage they caused, you don't even look back. Their chaos does not touch you. It only highlights your power. People are noticing. The same ones who doubted you, dismissed you, underestimated you. Now they see. They see that you never needed tricks, never needed manipulation, never needed to play the games that brought others to ruin, because real power doesn't need deception. Real power stands in truth, and truth always wins. You are proof of that. And that is why they fear you, not because you hurt them, not because you fought them, but because you never had to. You walked away, and still, you won. Their downfall is loud, messy, public. Your rise is silent, steady, unstoppable. This is what true ascension looks like, and this is only the beginning. You are not their savior. You are not their sacrifice. You are the one who walked away, untouched, while they fed the fire with their own hands. They mocked you when you held your peace, called you weak when you refused to play their games, thought they were winning when you chose silence over destruction. But strength is not loud, power does not beg, and wisdom never warns twice. Now look at them. Their own decisions set this into motion. Their own arrogance led them here. Their downfall was written the moment they chose deception over truth. You do not need to intervene. You do not need to explain. The weight of their actions will crush them without your help. Karma is already at work. The storm they unleashed no longer needs direction. Let them reap what they sow. Your only task, keep moving. Stay on your path. Keep your peace. Do not lower yourself to witness their destruction up close. You are not part of the wreckage. You were never meant to be. This was never your battle. This was always their downfall. Have you felt this shift? Have you watched people fall under the weight of their own deception? Let it be known, your silence is power. Your presence is untouchable. Let the ones who underestimated you realize it too late. Your peace is the loudest victory.